Okay. I need to make sure I'm not. It says amp. It says.
We're ready. We're on.
We are. We're on. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that I'm muted. Perfect. If anyone happens to be watching it, oh, make sure it's muted. In here, I mean. Okay. Alrighty. It's a bit of a lag, but I think we're here. Yes, Happy Gut is in the house saying thank you for joining everyone. All right. Now I have a setup here and I apologize if it looks like I'm not looking at you. It's because I am looking at the YouTube audience. So welcome people in the YouTube audience, whether you're joining us live right now or you're joining us in a little bit or later on, because it's gonna be live on our channel. You're gonna see me looking away. That's because I'm paying attention to you. Otherwise, I will be right here front and center with our incredible pitchers and panelists. All right, yes, good to see you. It's really weird having this happening over here. I'll try not to look too much over there, but we have people who are signing in and they're from our community and they're saying hi and saying it's great to see you, Paul and Melanie. Great to see you as well. I'm gonna figure out a way next time to do this that's not so disruptive. And actually, fun little pitch tip is that a big red flag for us pitchers is when you have two screens and you're looking over here, but you're pitching to us here. And this happens, I think like one pitcher out of every pitch event-ish since we went virtual. Someone does this. And the problem with that is that you're not connecting with us, the audience and humans that you are pitching to. So for those who are pitching, I want you to always make sure and do a test beforehand where you're looking when you're pitching. So that's just a little fun fact to start the day with. Otherwise, welcome everyone to our first Amplify live of 2021, I believe it is. So we're really excited to be here. This is our second Amplify ever. We typically do our pitch events in kind of a closed Zoom space. And so this was a new addition to our roster of events when we got feedback from a lot of people in our community saying, hey, it's been a rough year. I mean, as an entrepreneur, as a founder, we can always use some more amplification and visibility, but even more so in 2020 and looking forward. And we said, that's something I think we can do. So let's try it out. So we're still learning and growing, and we love your feedback as you're watching in the audience, or if you're watching later on, and pitchers here and panelists here today as well. We're excited to be here. So I am Melanie, and I always forget to say that, but I'm Melanie. I am one of the co-founders and managing partners at Volition, and my other co-founder and managing partner is here as well. Do you want to say hi?
Yes, I do. And I don't know if it's going to come up as we're introducing ourselves, but you said that this is our second Amplify ever, but I wanted to say this is our 101st event in the last 5 years. 5 years.
Yes, yeah, 5 years now.
Because we started doing pitch events in January 2016. So yeah, so welcome everybody to our 101st event of 2021. So not of 2021.
It's our 101st event of 2021. We're very tired.
Yeah, we do one every minute. It's insane. Yeah, so welcome everybody.
Welcome. Yes. So we're going to share a screen now. Oh no, actually first, before we do that, I would like the pitchers who are here today, if you can put your hands up in the air so everyone can see who's pitching here. There we go. All right, so we have 4 pitchers here today from BC and Sweden. So it's an interesting combination, and from all these different sectors. I'm really interested and excited to hear what they're all up to. And then we also have 2 incredible panelists who are joining us. Can you also wave your hands in the air? Panelists. And yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. And then we also, of course, have our Volition team, which also includes Paul, of course, here. All right. So those are the people that you're going to be looking at for the next hour and a half of your lives. And now we're going to put our deck up, our beautiful deck. All right, so you already know you're at Amplify Live Pitch. Excited to be here. You probably know it's Wednesday, January 27th, but I'm not going to make any assumptions. And we are very excited to have this event sponsored by our friends over at Pivot and Pilot. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them later, but they have been a really incredible part of our journey in the last few months. So really excited to have them here as our sponsor today. Next slide. Paul.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know Volition, as Melanie mentioned, I'm the other co-founder and managing partner of Volition. At Volition, we build capacity, connectivity, and knowledge within startup ecosystems. That looks like kind of three pillars of things, which is partner programs that we do with partners. So that would look like workshops, boot camps, master classes, and all sorts of different types of content with partners. Those partners range from anywhere in Canada, in the US. We're very happy to be friends and partners with Anne, who you'll meet shortly from Guild, is one example. And we actually just semi-finalized a new partner in Greece this morning, and work with a lot of partners in Europe as well. So looking to continually expand that. And then we also have 10, soon to be more coaches on the team that support entrepreneurs through coaching services, as well as, of course, community events, which brings you here today.
All right, so in terms of what to expect, as we're doing right now, we're going to have some introductions. We're going to talk about how you can connect with each other. We recognize it's a virtual space, but we're hoping that using this space in YouTube, we can all get to know each other a little bit better. We're then going to have the pitches, of course, and what that's going to be is that each of the pitchers will have 3 minutes to deliver their pitch. They will be notified at kind of 30 seconds to go, as well as 30 seconds after 3 minutes, so 3.5 minutes to wrap up. So they have about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. We're a little bit nice with that kind of cutoff there. And then there's going to be some feedback from our incredible panelists who are going to talk about pitch and presentation, about structure, about story, about kind of tips and tools that they've learned along the way. Following that, we're going to have our audience vote, and we'll just talk about that. We'll talk about that in just a moment in terms of how you can vote in the audience. And again, everyone can vote aside from the Volition team. So please do get on there. And if you're a pitcher, you can always vote for yourself if you want. No judgment here. But we're going to use Buzz It for that, which is also one of our good friends. And I'll mention that again in just a moment. And then we'll wrap up. So this should take, what are we at? It should take about just under an hour and a half to get through all of these pieces. And we thank you for being here to be part of it. So as I mentioned just a moment ago, there are different ways that we can connect with each other. One of them is to get onto YouTube and introduce yourself. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, if you happen to be here in that moment, I was saying that I will be here. So I'm here in the room with you on YouTube. Whenever I look to the side, I'm hanging out with you. But please do say hi. Please let us know where you're from. I'm seeing people saying they're from Los Angeles. We have people from San Francisco. It's really great to have you here. So please do let us know where you're coming from and who you are. Connect with each other. If you have feedback, if you have insights, if you have questions for the pitchers, also put that in there, and we can always check out what you're doing there and bring it over here into our virtual space. In terms of voting that I was talking about a moment ago, Buzz It is our partners, and they provide us with this incredible platform. They were actually at one point in time, I think it was 2017, maybe, that they first pitched with us. So they've gone through this kind of evolution of building their business, pitching with Volition, and then becoming partners and building and continuing to build out this platform of theirs. So if you go to buzzit.ca, you can already see the pitcher profiles. If you want to check them out, it's going to say who the pitcher is. It's going to have their ways to connect with them, like their website and their social channels, and a little blurb about who they are. So you can already get in there and start interacting with them if you like. And then when we have our pitching, when we have our voting session at the end, we will again redirect you, and we'll again tell you to go to buzzit.ca and to put in this event key, which is Amplify Jan, and then you'll be able to, we'll open up voting and you'll see it, and you'll be able to start to make your votes at that time. So that's what that looks like, but do get on there from the get-go and start engaging with each other right away.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabel. I'm the Community and Events Coordinator for Volition. Just wanted to hop on and sort of explain how you can engage with us throughout the event. So as Melanie was saying, you can definitely make some noise in the YouTube chat and let us know where you're joining in from. Any questions you have for the pitchers, put them in there, and we'll make sure that they see them, and also connect with each other. You can put your LinkedIn profiles in there as well. Want to make space for networking as well. For Volition, you can follow us on all the socials. So we're on Instagram, Twitter as This Is Volition. If you're posting anything during the event, you can make sure to use the hashtag Amplify Volition Pitch. And we're also on LinkedIn and Facebook. And if you haven't already, you can please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow on all of the other events and IG Lives that we have on our YouTube channel as well. Thanks. Back to you, Melanie.
Thank you. Alrighty, so I'd mentioned Pivot and Pilot at the beginning here, and there are friends and generous sponsors. And who are Pivot and Pilot? Pivot and Pilot, they help food, beauty, and wellness. This is a tough word, food. They help food, beauty, and wellness brands stand out and capitalize on their first impression through branding, through e-commerce solutions, and packaging design. So they have some really beautiful work if you go and check out pivotandpilot.com. And we are very proud to have worked with them over the past few months to develop our own new brand refresh, which we haven't technically launched, but we have, because it's all over the place. Everywhere you look, it's on this slide right now. We have new colors, we have a new logo, we have a new emblem in the corner here on the slide. And so I will do an actual reveal of that. So this is the sneak peek for the 45 people who are watching right now, and for those in the room here on Zoom. We're really excited to have worked with Pivot and Pilot. It was a great experience, and they really brought out kind of who we are as an organization, who we are as a team, and as like humans on the actual team, to bring that out in our voice and in our brand, and to kind of tell a story through that. So really appreciated that. Really go check them out at Pivot and Pilot. They're also on the socials. So they're on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube as well, which they're going to be doing some cool content on there this year, I believe. They're kind of amping up their YouTube website. So thank you so much, Pivot and Pilot. We really appreciate it. And it's been great working with them. Also, actually, while I'm on that point, you're already on our YouTube. So if after this, you just didn't get enough of us, you can go to our, what are they called? Our channels? I clearly don't know what they're called, but there's a section that's
our playlists.
Thank you. Our playlists. Yes. Thank you, Isabel. What would I do without you? So our playlists have founder chats, and it has startup chats. So if you check out startup chats, you'll see my conversation with Rebecca. She's the co-founder of Pivot and Pilot. So you can learn more about them there. We also have, I don't even know how many, like 30, somewhere between 20 and 30 founder chats on there as well, which is really cool to see a lot of the past pictures on there. So that's Pivot and Pilot.
And fun fact, Rebecca is a aspiring comedian, which is
she's a stand-up comedian. Your turn, Paul.
Oh, I thought you would start with Anne. So all right. So so as mentioned before, I'm the co-founder and one of the managing directors at Volition. So a bit about me and why I'm here. So I'm in Burnaby, BC. We didn't mention before, I always love hearing about where from people are, and Klaus reminded me earlier that we should probably say that. So Melanie's actually in Ireland, and Isabel is in Vancouver by way of Ireland, actually. So we almost kind of traded them, I guess, in a sense. So I'm here in Vancouver. A bit about me. So I'm a 20-year entrepreneur. Within those 20 years of experience, I have about 15 years of pitching and fundraising experience. And taking all of that experience, I've been able to accumulate that into a wealth of knowledge and contacts in the investment pitching space, and I teach others how to pitch. So I'm a master pitch and presentation coach, and work with companies and entrepreneurs and startups to help them prepare for fundraising, investor prep, and pitching. Over to Anne.
Hello, everybody. Unfortunately, I was told that the live streaming killed my video, so you won't be able to see me, but I hope you can hear me okay. My name is Anne Coquette. I'm the founder and CEO of The Guild, and we are a global community of female entrepreneurs, investors, and innovators with companies from over 60 countries now. We have a global platform and also entrepreneurial content. So Paul and I got introduced from through two founders who went through the Guild Academy, our pre-accelerator program, and then went on to pitch at Volition. And they said, you know what, Paul, you need to meet Anne, and you need to meet Paul. And here we are doing great things together. Paul is actually also going to teach one of his amazing masterclasses to our community. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been around the block a few times. I've done businesses in B2C and B2B. I've fundraised. I'm also investing a little on the side. And I'm super excited about our accelerator programs and the educational programs that we bring to first-time entrepreneurs in the Guild. I have seen a lot of pitches in my life, especially during my time at Genentech in their corporate strategy team, where I reviewed a ton of digital health companies for about 4 years back when digital health was still sort of nascent and was starting to become a big thing in 2014. So today I'm super excited to see all the pitches, and I'm very excited to do this together with you, Paul.
And if I'm not mistaken, Anne is in San Francisco, right?
That is correct. I'm based out of San Francisco. However, I'm currently in Mexico spending the COVID winter down here.
Wow.
Hence the internet issues.
I see. Now it all makes sense. Cool. Well, glad to have you on board, Anne. Thanks very much for joining us all the way from Mexico. That is fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, so a bit about what we're here for. I mean, the main real purpose of this is, as we said, we set up this event to do whatever we could to amplify entrepreneurs and their startups. So we've done a lot of work in building a international network and connections and building a voice out into the global startup community. And so the event is really about creating a space to amplify you guys, the pitchers, the companies, the builders, and to get your message out there and show the world what you guys are building, because we should all be very proud of it. And so that's really what we do, and the content lives on our YouTube afterwards. We post a lot of it to Instagram. So a lot of it is about that. In addition to that, we also have some rewards, which is that the winner will receive an IG Live interview or blog feature, their choice. Some people aren't comfortable on camera, like I'm not big on, even though it might not seem like it, I'm not really big on doing like Instagram stuff. So if you're not comfortable with that, you can do a blog feature. But what I will say is that that's with Melanie. And she didn't say it earlier, but we have a lot of content on our YouTube and our Instagram. And Melanie is amazing as an interviewer and host of those IG Lives and expert chats. So I would highly recommend doing that. She brings out great stuff in everybody, and there's nuggets of gold in those interviews. You also get a advisory session with one of our managing partners, so either myself or Melanie. Of course, we have 8 other coaches that can help with other stuff, so you can always inquire about that as well. In addition, you get a strategy session with our friends over at Pivot and Pilot, and as well as a one-on-one advisory session from our friends at Bond and Born. Thanks to Gordon, who is the head of that organization. What they are, because it doesn't say there, is Bond and Born is a leadership coaching organization. So they'll help you with leadership structure, efficiency within organization. I worked with Gordon last year, and that's kind of where that came from. And it was a transformative process. It changed my world. So highly recommend it.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Paul, and thank you, Anne. Really excited to dig into this. So with no further ado, we are going to let the pitches begin. So we have 4 pitches here today, all from different areas, some from different areas of a province, others from different areas of a world, a world as well, I suppose. So really excited to have you all here, and we are going to first up, I'm going to introduce or welcome to the page. Welcome to the stage, Lisa Zerwick. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So Lisa is with Happy Gut. She is calling in from Castlegar, BC. And some really exciting news about Happy Gut right now is that they are the top water kefir grain producer in Canada. and #1 on Amazon.ca for grain sales. So that's interesting. And I think we're going to hear a lot more about that in just a moment. They're also featured on Dragon's Den in 2019, which is very exciting. I really believe it's Lisa's second time pitching here today. So let's all like give some love to Lisa. And
it's not my second time pitching here. It's my second time pitching, but not here. Yes.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yes. Okay. Second time pitching. Yes. So very excited. Congratulations. And over to you. So as soon as you're ready, Lisa, just take a deep breath and get your slides up on the screen here. Once you start speaking, that's when Isabel's going to start her clock, and she will let you know when you have 30 seconds to go. And then again, we'll let you know if you've gone about 30 seconds over, and we'll very politely jump in and ask you for your ask.
Okay. At the screen share here.
Is it being finicky?
I'm just trying to find my screen share on here. Too many things going here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on. Okay. Great. Okay, can you see it?
Perfect. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
great. So good morning, everybody. My name is Lisa Zerwick, and I'm my company's name is Happy Gut, located in Castlegar, British Columbia. And we have also have a beautiful snowy day here this morning. Happy Gut is a health brand positioned to be the North American leader in water kefir, grain, and beverage production. Our problem that we're solving is that people are increasingly struggling with poor gut health and compromised immunity. Live probiotics are a natural way to improve gut health, and the fast growth in kombucha sales tells us people are willing to pay more for functional drinks. So the solution is that we have I make a refreshing, healthy, low-calorie fizzy beverage that can replace the unhealthy soda habit. And that's where we're aiming for. It's full of natural probiotics, caffeine, dairy, and gluten-free. And the flavor is a lot more pleasant than kombucha, and the amount of probiotics in it are much higher. So our target market is, of course, going up against kombucha drinkers, people who have an active lifestyle, people who are health conscious, and our target market is women from 25 to 60. It's a very early emerging market. There's 2 people in BC who are making water kefir currently, and we're going up against kombucha brands. Nobody in Alberta, very few companies are stepping into the water kefir world, so there's a lot of opportunity. My funding that I'm asking for today is $300,000 because our greatest opportunity is in our single serving beverages. We would like to set up a canning production line and get a new facility with automated equipment. Currently, I'm doing it by hand. So our sales channels for the entire company is through wholesale, where we sell to grocery and health retailers. I sell on Amazon Prime Canada and Amazon US, and also through our Happy Gut website. So marketing, we currently do a bi-weekly newsletter, over 3,000 subscribers, giving out wealths of different kinds of recipes to people. We are on Instagram and Facebook, very, very active on there, over 4,500 followers. We have Google ads running, and then industry trade shows where the Canadian Health Food Association, we're going to be in that show this spring.
30 seconds.
So our revenue streams are the beverages, the water kefir grains that we grow here, and then all the supplies to make water kefir yourself. And our major costs are, of course, our canning equipment, our facilities, our wages, inventory, and marketing. And so our startup production would be about $850,000 revenue. And if we had full production, 1.4, 1.5 million. We have milestones for this year is to purchase our canning equipment, upgrade our facilities, get it all set up, and hoping, really, it's a generous thing, but we're hoping we can get out by July 1st with our first canned product delivery. So I already have a team established, been in business for over 4 years. And one of our key people is our microbiologist who helps us in ensuring our grain growth is growing at its maximum capacity. And then we just received our trademarks, Canada and the US. I was on Dragon's Den with my company, received offers, did not accept them. I'm looking for funding for the company as we're growing. And then I work very closely with my community futures. And that's all. Thank you.
Nicely done. I think it's here. I'm just gonna do that so we can see our faces again. Isabel, do we want the pitchers to turn off their video? Okay, so if the pitchers who are not pitching right now can turn off their video when you're not pitching, and then we can focus on Paul and Anne and Lisa. So there we go. Yes, there we go. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Thanks, Lisa. That was very interesting. I really appreciate Kefir. I think it's a really great product, and I'm really keen to hear what our panelists here have to say. So I'm going to start with Paul. He's a seasoned panelist at the Volition events. So I'm going to pass it over to Paul, and then Anne will invite you to contribute as well.
So we'll go with the grain and start with me. Lisa, thank you very much. Overall, it's pretty good. So what I would say is that you have the advantage that you're a fairly good presenter. So what I would say is overall, you're a well-spoken, you're a clear speaker, you're engaging, friendly. So I think that's all covered. I think there's definitely some enhancements that are possible for the presentation itself. And I wish the slides were still up in this case. I know we don't necessarily have them up, but one of the things that I noticed as we were going through was that I wasn't necessarily convinced by the problem and solution statements to start. And so I think what I would like to say is, I think of something that I started thinking of as I'm hearing you present is, it started making me think of Tara from Smart Suites, where, essentially what her presentation was, now obviously they've sold the company, but when she first started pitching, what it was really about, and the problem statement for them was really about like cutting sugar, right? It was about the health benefits of like, hey, we don't want to take your candy away from you, but just let's make some better decisions. Let's have a better option. And as I started thinking about it, as I'm hearing your pitch, what I'm hearing is like these little things you would kind of drop in about like, well, it's better than soda. It's really good for your gut. It's better than kombucha in terms of probiotics. Like I kept hearing it's better, it's better, it's better. But I actually think that should be your problem and solution statement. So I think the problem is that there's tons of high sugar fizzy drinks on the market. I think that kombucha is not for everybody, is kind of a reality. And like my wife right now, I'm sure she's probably hearing me talk about it. She hates kombucha. So she's just like, ugh, every time I say the word. So I'm just thinking like, I'm wondering if the problem solution statement is more about this is what's on the market and here's Happy Gut, which is way better of an option, right? Now, Melanie knows what kefir is, and maybe I'm just daft, and I admit if I am. I feel like maybe not everybody knows what kefir is, so it might be worth just putting in there quickly what it is. I caught that it's a grain, I get it, but like it might be good just to say like, here's kefir as it's raw. Maybe that's a great way to start out, right? Here's kefir as it's raw. We grow our own. It's, we have a microbiologist that makes incredible high yield product. It's highly beneficial. And here's the benefits of it. So what we've done is we want to take away sugary drinks. We want to get rid of the bad tasting kombucha and replace that with amazing tasting, highly beneficial water kefir. Does that make sense? So I'm just kind of looking for more of like a succinct, something I can really kind of sink my teeth into, if that makes sense. I'll tie it up with saying, I would say also, and like I said, you have the advantage of being a clear speaker. You're present well. So actually, I would love to also see more visuals on your slides and less text, especially at the beginning. Like you were talking about the water kefir and like, you know, the fizzy drink alternative essentially, but there wasn't a picture of it. It was just a bunch of text on a slide. And instead of here was the effect that happened and it's not just because I'm a guy and I can't do two things at once. What was happening is I was reading the text instead of listening to you. And that's a detriment to you. You're the star of the show. The deck should be your supporting actor. So I just would love to see more visuals that I can just quickly kind of have a quick look at, but then I'm listening to you as the star of the show. So that's my feedback so far. Yes. Over to Anne. What does Anne think?
All right. So Lisa, first of all, congrats. If this was your second pitch, it was excellent for a second pitch. You know, you hit all the points that need to be hit in a pitch, and that's not easy to do. And so what I would absolutely second is the graphics. So this is a brand that you're going to sell more than anything, right? So I want to see that you're able to show us that brand, even in your deck, right? So water, Fiji water, Evian, Hint water, there's so much water, Perrier. And we all have a clear understanding that Perrier is not what you take on your hiking trip, and Hint is not what you put on your dinner with bunch of high-end board members, right? So it's really all about branding when you're in the beverage space. And so if you're pitching me as an investor, I would like to see that you understand that. And I would want that deck to really underscore that. So at some point we saw the cans, and I would put those at the very front, right? So I can see what it is. And then, as you said, in the problem statement, no words, way too many words in the pitch deck. And everybody does that in the beginning. But show us how much sugar goes into a Coke. Show us what's in kombucha. Make it visual. People go, whoa, I had no idea, right? And now we learn about this new product of yours. And I also say, as an investor, I'd be like, you know, beverage, I don't know, is there really an investment opportunity for me? So build the deck around that story, why this is such an incredible new product that I cannot wait to give you my dollars so that you can build that canning facility and bring this to the market. And it's a no-brainer, because in a year from now, you're going to be at $1 million in sales, at least, even just in the Canadian market, right? That's the story I want to hear. And then you sprinkled in some of those things where you, oh yeah, we won this thing, but we didn't take the investment. Those are great points. Like, make sure we know about those, right? Those are incredible selling points where we know that you as a founder, you have the grit and you know what you're doing and you know why this is a great investment opportunity. And then of course, I want to see those numbers, right? The numbers weren't in here. I think if you can underscore a few more things with numbers on each slide. So what's that portion of that target market of 2.1 billion or however much it was? Is it really 21 years old to 65 years old, or is there a sweet spot, and who do you start with? And how much of those people drink kombucha or whatever, right? Or hate sodas, or, you know, the Coca-Cola industry, or, you know, the soda industry and Coca-Cola are struggling because people don't want sugar water anymore. Those kinds of things. So put those numbers in. So I trust that you have done your research. And then also put the numbers in on the end there. You know, Google ads you're doing. You have a newsletter of 3,000 people. That doesn't tell me anything if nobody opens that newsletter, right? Like, what are those conversion rates? What are those Google ads cost you? I can run Google ads all day long, but I want to know what is your customer acquisition cost. And then, you know, if it costs me $20 to get one client who buys $6 worth of cans, that's not a good business proposition, but I'm sure you have better stats there. And that's what I want to know about as well. And then I saw you have 3 products you're selling. You're not just selling the canned goods, right? You're also selling a homemade, like, how do you make this yourself at home? It could be like an online course or something. Now I'm like peeking up. I'm like, ooh, that's scalable. That's interesting. Everybody could learn from that. You could sell that for $500. How to home brew your kefir or your beer or whatever. You could branch that out. That almost sounds like a business opportunity in itself. So make sure you tell your customers about that, and then put into customer testimonials. If I hear kefir, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure I like this, and it's like, I'm not convinced that this is something awesome to taste, and so tell us what people tell you why they love it. But overall, really great done. Well done.
Thank you both for your feedback. It's so exciting. What a great day for me, because this is my 2021 goal, is to be able to pitch and get it solid and get convincing. That is the number one thing, is to get convincing. So I appreciate everything, and I will go back and I will go through with a fine-tooth comb and make all of these changes and impressions. So thank you so very much.
Yeah, I know we're done for feedback, but just to echo on what Anne just said. So remembering that, just remember that numbers don't lie. So the best thing you can add is definitely numbers that quantify exactly what you're talking about. So that was a fantastic point by Anne, for sure. Yeah, great stuff.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. And Lisa, before you leave us, I would love to know, what can we as your community, people who are watching live or watching later, what can we do to help amplify your business?
The best thing that people can do to help amplify my business is to try my product and make water kefir. We have an amazing customer support so that you can ask for help, because fermentation is so intimidating. And the best thing people can do is to get talking about it, because they've tried it and they've done it, and how easy it is to do it. So that would be the best gift for me. Very cool. And what's the best way for people to connect with you then? So you can connect with me. We're on all the platforms, and it's essentially me running the majority of the stuff. So any platform, Happy Gut Pro is our website. You can find us on Facebook. We're very active on Instagram, Happy Gut Kefir, and email lisa@happygutpro.com anytime. Amazing. All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. For those watching, make sure to go check out happygutpro.com, see what they're doing and their beautiful branding, which will make its way into the deck in future iterations, I am sure. And just really appreciate you being here, and congratulations on your second pitch and for taking that step towards that 2021 goal. Really excited for you and excited to keep in touch. So also, Lisa, make sure to keep in touch with us. We are also active on Instagram and the socials. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so our second pitcher up here today, I'm going to invite to the stage New Peak Robotics. So pitching New Peak Robotics, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, is Anshul Porwal. Again, I'm hoping I'm correctly pronouncing your name. Perfect. Okay. I always try to ask beforehand and then inevitably always forget anyway. So I apologize. I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. So Anshul is pitching from Vancouver, BC, I believe, where it was snowing at some point in time today, I keep hearing. So the exciting news I want to share about New Peak is that they are one of the 10 companies in BC to receive BC's Fast Pilot Research Grant in 2020. So I'm excited to hear what you did with that, or what you're going to do with that. They're also Thrive Canada Challenge finalist and among the top 9 ventures in the ag tech space, selected out of over 150 startups from across Canada. So I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about that in the next 3 minutes. They're doing very cool things, it sounds like. So Anshul, is again, as soon as you're ready, feel free to get your slides up on the screen, take that deep breath, and as soon as you start going, Isabel will start recording the time.
Okay, here we go.
Perfect.
So hi, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, okay. Hi, I'm Anshul, and we are New Peak Robotics. Today, agriculture has a huge labor problem. Even with rising minimum wages, over 70% of farmers cannot find enough people to work on their fields. This problem is especially bad for strawberries because they're one of the most labor-intensive fruits to pick. In fact, the problem is so bad today that some farmers choose and find it cheaper to let some of their crop rot on the fields than have humans go pick through them. We think the right approach to solve this problem is to have a swarm of robotic pickers. Our robots are fully autonomous and intelligent, and they use most cutting-edge advances in machine vision and AI to detect ripeness of the strawberries and pluck them delicately from the plant. And they're competitive with human workers both on efficiency and cost. We make money from this by offering strawberry picking as a service. We'll charge a fixed price for every pound of strawberries picked by our robot, and this is the only charge a customer will see to get the robots on their feet. Our grand plan is to get $3 billion by harvesting strawberries first, followed shortly by harvesting other fruits and vegetables such as greenhouse tomatoes, blueberries, raspberries, and our grand vision is to automate all manual labor on the field. If you thought this was just some experiment in the lab, no, my friends, this robot is actually out there picking strawberries on the field today. These robots are capable of working in all weather conditions, rain and shine, day and night. Not only that, here's the kicker. The very same robot that you saw that was picking strawberries is also capable of working indoors and picking greenhouse tomatoes currently. This further proves the scalability and the intelligence of the hardware that we have built here. We have moved incredibly quickly for a hardware company. We had our first prototype out on the fields by partnering with one of the largest berry growers in BC within 6 months of operation. Follow shortly, we got our first pre-seed investment from Hex Ventures, one of the most active hardware backers in the world. And we were proud to be one of the 15 companies selected across BC to be granted the BC Fast Pilot Award. We started strong this year by winning the Canada Challenge, by becoming one of the 9 startups to be chosen as the finalist among all startups in Canada. And now we're gearing up to launch our service commercially for the first time this year. Well, we will have a baby fleet of 4 robots running around on the fields and working 16 hours continuously over the length of the entire season. We already have 20 growers on our wait list, and they together represent about $1.4 million in potential revenue, and they want us on their fields as soon as possible. You can help us get there by helping us raise our next round, which we'll use to scale up our fleet and validate some of the robotic hardware that we are building here. And if this excites you and you understand the urgency of the problem we are trying to solve here, please come and help us pick the lowest hanging fruit, both figuratively and literally. I think that's all my time. Thank you very much for listening.
Amazing. I love a good pun, so I appreciated that deeply. And we have some of our friends over in the chat here, and they're saying amazing. They're saying Dave, one of our friends, longtime friends from Vancouver, is saying NewPack has a cool product concept here. So people are talking about it. Very exciting. All right, so for this time around, I am going to first head over to Anne. I will invite you to provide your feedback.
Awesome. Well, first of all, congrats. This was a fantastic pitch. Absolutely enjoyed learning along the way. And so a lot of pitches you sort of sit through as an investor or partner, and you're like, oh yeah, and you have to really think what it is that the other person is trying to convey. And you made it so easy and simple to understand and create excitement during this pitch as well. And I think you did a really good arch of telling us what the problem is, and we can all relate to food waste and to that manual labor. And then you showed us a potential solution, which was just a cat, at which point I'm thinking, yeah, okay, great idea. Let's see. But then you're showing us a product demo that actually worked in your slides, which is hard to do. And you know, whenever you have video in your pitch, I say test it 10 times over because it's not going to work in all cases, and it did. And so you just absolutely peaked in credibility at that point, right? Where I'm like, okay, this isn't just some idea of some grads from some high school, college, but this is actually happening. And then you showed us already the milestones and the timeline. So well done. I would say where as an investor, I'd be a little bit more interested or wary is you're only raising 500K right now. And this is a hardware company with robotics and a lot of electronic devices and firmware and things like that. And so in my experience, it takes a little bit more capital to scale that, but you also have shown already that you created a product in the past. So I do have faith that this is going to work, but I would ask, why are you only raising 500K? And perhaps you're only raising because you have a $1.5 million revenue in the future. So then therefore, why would you raise more if you have that revenue coming in? And that's absolutely valid, but I would maybe say that so that it's clear to investors that, you know, with the 1.4 million coming in, et cetera, you're creating a big company, you're going to grow fast. And then congrats on all your partnerships. I think that's huge. So yeah, definitely highlight those, that those are not just pilots or ideas, but they're actually working pilots. And I would like to see, as an investor, the numbers a little bit more on each one of those projects. So if it's one farm, how much, you know, what are those unit economics? And if you're selling this as a strawberry picking as a service, then of course the hardware cost has to be amortized over time. And so I'd like to know at which point you're breaking even there, and then where's that hockey stick growth once, you know, once you picked 2 years worth of strawberry supplies, then maybe at that point you have to, you know, add just a little bit maintenance, and then that's it. But I'd love to learn a little more about those numbers there. But other than that, great pitch, wonderful story, great visuals there as well. And now over to you, Paul.
Thanks, Anne.
And I don't know if you noticed while you were talking, I was like, yeah, because yes, absolutely 100% everything she just said, for sure. Because I'm going to piggyback that just by saying the one main note that I wrote down, I mean, I'm not going to repeat everything Anne said. She said it very clearly and succinctly. The one thing I wrote down was, what's holding you back? So like I was sitting here going, okay, so they're showing me a video of it actually working. They're saying it's got this. They've got farmers lined up. I'm like, we're raising more money, but like, what's the plan here, guys? Like, you know, on one hand, your pitch did its job, because it's certainly, I would say for Anne and I's part, not to speak on her behalf, but it sounds like for me, it certainly whet our appetite, because even what I didn't say is I also wrote down a couple of friends of mine's names that are in the investing area for ag tech and all that kind of stuff. You probably even know one, Praveen Varshney. I don't know if you know that name. He's a famous Vancouver. So, no. Oh, okay. So he's a famous Vancouver investor, but I know he invests in this kind of stuff. But the thing that I wrote down right next to it is, what's holding you back? So Anne put it a really good way of like, so what's the plan here? Like, that's kind of what I want to know, right? Is exactly like she said, like, is it, you're going to take the money plus what you've got in bank, plus what you've got coming up in booked revenue to take this to where and to do what, right? I feel like how I was sort of left at the end is like, okay, so they're going to raise more money, which is going to take time. When is this all going to happen? Like, there's clearly a problem, and food waste is such a, like, yeah, I hate food waste terribly. So for me, this spoke really well to that. And I was like, oh man, just hearing that little note of saying like some farmers are just letting the stuff rot instead of paying people to go get it. Meanwhile, people are starving, you know, all over the US and in Canada and all over the world. And it's just like, my gosh, right? So yeah, so very fascinating. I think there's just that one little piece there that I think needs to be put into there at least. I know Anne had a few notes there. Some of it might be more of a due diligence thing, tough to include in a 3-minute. Maybe if you had longer, you could do a lot of that extra stuff for sure, I would say, that Anne suggested. I'm not saying she was wrong. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying in 3 minutes might be hard to include all of that. Longer for sure. And if you were going to due diligence, absolutely, you need to have all those answers. But I think in even a 3-minute, I want to hear, I don't think there's a better way for me to say it. What's the plan here, guys? If that makes sense.
A lot of sense.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks,
Thank
Paul.
you.
Thank you so much. There was one question in the chat. Lots of people are in the chat talking right now, Anshul, so make sure to go over there, answer their questions, interact with them. One question that came in was, in the Vancouver market, investors aren't known to be as bold as in other markets. Is a huge play too much for this investor market?
That's a great question. And
I thought the question was for me. I'm not sure.
I mean, if Anshul knows the answer.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
I'm open to it.
Well, I guess I think more for me because we're talking about the Vancouver market. I think it depends. So that sounds like a Dave question. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think it depends. So there's some investors I know that certainly in the ag tech space, they are a bit bolder, especially when it comes to food waste, ag tech, all that stuff. This is a very hot topic right now, and as well as it should be. By all means, I mean, we need to double food production and use half the amount of water within the next like 5 years. So, this is a very hot topic. So there are some people that are willing to spend some big dollars to bring these solutions to reality. So I would, to counteract that question, I would say there are some in Vancouver that will probably be willing. I think that you're probably not raising just in Vancouver though, as you start raising larger rounds or maybe even in this round, because this is a global impact company too. So a lot of investors all over the world could probably get behind this quite quickly and quite easily. So it doesn't sound like Anshul is going to be limiting himself to raising only in Vancouver or in BC. So I would agree with that.
Cool. Thanks so much, Paul.
And
all right.
It looks like Anne just came off mute, so I don't know if she has something to tack on.
Unfortunately, I don't think we have time.
Okay.
But if you want to sneak that into a future feedback, that would be amazing. Or even just get it in writing in the chat. Dave is the one asking the question, so it'd be great if you want to include your answer there as well, Anne. That would be fantastic. But Anshul, while I still have you, same question that I asked previously of Lisa, I would love to know how those who are watching here today or in the future, how they can help amplify your business.
Yeah, I guess I will tie that back into some of the feedback we received and like, where is this going next and what's holding us back? So what's holding us back at this point kind of is, it's mostly that when you are developing something as complicated as a robot that's trying to compete with a human worker, you have to take smaller steps. You can't just jump in and scale it up quickly because you could make mistakes, and mistakes are very expensive when it comes to hardware. So what I would ask from the audience is, please introduce us to any channel partners. If you know any strawberry growers, even like any fruit growers that I guarantee you they're struggling with labor today if they're a fruit grower. So connect them with us, and we'd love to talk to them, understand their problem, and actually like change our product and modify it to best fit their needs properly. So we are just focusing on strawberries today, but it won't be too long before we are picking greenhouse tomatoes and other fruits as well. So any connections there would be a huge help to us.
Amazing. And where can people connect with you?
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I will post my link in the chat. And you could also email me at Anshul, ANSHUL, @newpeak.com. And yeah, I would love to talk to you about this.
Fantastic. All right. So you can also check out newpeak.com. That's where you can see more about this company. And on Twitter, they're @newpeak. So make sure to go follow them and help amplify what they're doing. Thank you so much, Anshul. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the YouTube chat. All right. Hi, Dr. Carolina Valente. Valente?
Yep,
okay.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. So Carolina is joining us here today from Victoria, where it is not snowing, and an exciting news piece about Voxel Bioinnovation, which you're about to hear a little bit more about, is that they have recently been accepted to the Mars Discovery District, which is one of North America's largest innovation hubs. Yes, clap, 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 clap. Very exciting. Their team has also grown since their incorporation in August 2020 and now includes 8 people, 3 of which have PhDs with deep experience and passion in the biotech field. So that's very exciting and incredible. I thought it was a typo, August 2020. Is that correct though?
No, it's real.
It's amazing.
Can you see my slides well?
Yes, we can. Yes. So when you're ready, feel free
Yeah, sounds
to
good.
go ahead.
Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah.
So for years, we have been trying to study human tissue models in a meaningful way. And that's how the field of 3D bioprinting was born. And just like 3D printing technology, but using a material that resembles the human body. However, we are still not capable of mimicking the small structures and main physiology components of the human tissue. Until now. Hello, my name is Dr. Valente, and I'm the CEO of Voxel Bioinnovation, and we are developing Canada's first high-resolution 3D bioprinter. Did you know that the drug development process can take up to 15 years and more than $2 billion? And on top of that, there is actually less than 8% of translation between lab data and clinical trial data. And this is all due to a lack of complex tissue models during lab testing. 3D bioprinting techniques display an average of 100 micrometers, and that's the thickness of a hair. But some of our blood vessels are actually 20 times smaller. So even though we can create tissue models, they cannot realistically mimic the human body. And that's where Voxel comes in. Meet Voxel's printer, Canada's first high-resolution 3D printer bioprinter. Using a localized printing method, we can 3D bioprinting models with a resolution of 500 nanometers. What makes it special? Three main components. First, our dual-purpose product that can be used as a 3D printer and as a bioprinter. Second, our proprietary bioinks that have been showing excellent results mimicking tissues. And third, our software to be capable of generating functional vasculature and tissue models. Our customers will be academic research groups working with tissue engineering, as well as pharmaceutical companies developing therapeutical drugs. The market opportunity is massive. 3D bioprinting was a $1.2 billion industry in 2019, and it's expected to grow to $4.3 billion by 2027. So with such a great market, of course, we have competition. And even though these companies have been very successful in what they do, none of them have solved the issue of creating truly biomimetic tissue models. And that's the gap that Voxel is targeting. Our revenue model will come from three main sources. First is our bioink sales that will start next year, together with the sales of academic version of our printer. Finalizing the sales of our commercial printer in 2023, and our revenue projection will have a net profit by 2026. And this has only been possible by having a team with extensive experience in tissue engineering, drug development system, and medical devices. We got incorporated in August, that's right, Melanie. And since then, our team has more than doubled in size, and we have raised more than $200,000 in grants. Right now, we are currently raising capital for operations and personnel, seeking strategic partnership in academia and industry, and looking for mentorship in the biotech area. And the vision is simple, it's to become the 3D bioprinter for industry and academia. But this vision goes beyond just being a device. Remember the 15 years and more than $2 billion? Well, don't worry, that won't be for too long. Voxel will change that. And if you want to be part of this exciting future, just contact us to learn more. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Carolina. There's people in the chat saying, Voxel, another huge opportunity. Very excited. All right, so Anne, I'm actually going to invite you to go first on this one as well, because we just recently heard Dr. Carolina's pitch in a pitch mastermind. And so I'm going to have a fresh perspective brought in first.
All right. Well, congrats again on your progress and also the pitch. That was very well delivered and definitely very passionately delivered. So I believe that you believe in your product and in the science, and that you know what you're talking about. And so that is half of what you need to convey in your pitch, right? So now the question is, you know, who are you pitching? Is this somebody who is an investor in the medical space, or is this an investor who is just generally interested in investing in something cool and new? And so I would advise in general to perhaps change the pitch a little bit if that is an investor that's not so deeply rooted in the medical space, because you're showing a lot of pictures and you're thinking that people know certain terms that may not necessarily be the case. And having been in the digital health industry for a while, I know that you're losing people there because they might start thinking about certain things that you don't even talk about, right? So people start to think like tissue printing. Oh, is it for creating a new toe when I lost one, or is it for creating a new liver? And then, you know, they're starting to think about this while you're moving on in your pitch. So I would be very clear with the examples there if you're talking to somebody who may not be in the medical space so deeply, and give them some good examples of where tissue engineering is really critical, so I can relate to that and I understand. And you might just give one really easy to grasp example there. And then I wasn't quite clear in general where you are with development. So is it already undergoing, or is that just a cat idea? Is it academic? So my fear is a little bit that this might be a little bit too academic and too early on. And I'm not quite sure if you're already printing certain materials and you already have partners. And if you do, I would want to know who they are and how their feedback is. And that goes back to the testimonials. Whenever you have already a pilot or a client, put in as much testimonial as you can to showcase that this isn't just an idea, but it's actually solving the problem. And then you did say something about competition in general, that there is competition out there, but you're different. And that was too much information too quickly for me to really understand your unique value proposition. Again, it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to somebody who's deeply invested and interested in the tissue engineering space, they might understand that quite clearly. So you don't need to spend more time there. But there might be other ways how you in a pitch like this can convey your unique value proposition compared to the other competitors in the space. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is, well, what about Medtronic, or what about those kinds of companies? Do they already have something similar? Tissue printing isn't a new thing, right? That's been around for 5 to 10 years in terms of 3D printing tissue. So I want to better understand the unique value proposition. But overall, a lot of passion, loved it, and good luck with the company. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, Anne has done an amazing job at saying pretty much exactly what I would have said. The only thing that I would add on to that, and I'm not sure I know 100% the answer, but for me, something was missing in the, as our friend Chris Stairs would say, who is one of our advisors, something was kind of missing in the money model. So I appreciated that you showed the projections, which was a very busy slide with a very couple tiny little projections things. And I wonder if it would be more powerful to, and maybe this would even help to answer Anne's question of like where you're at, but somehow maybe instead stating like how you make money. So it was for me, it was fine to talk about projections, but I didn't actually know how you get to that. So I was kind of missing the beginning part of that. So it's like, okay, so they're gonna make money someday, but how do they actually do that? Is it by selling the machines? Are you selling the ink? Who are you selling the machines to? Like I sort of got it, but I feel like there's maybe a more succinct way of tying that story together. So that was, but that was all for me. Otherwise, I thought it was a really well done presentation.
Thank you so much, Paul and Anne.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you as well, Dr. Carolina. Really appreciate it. So I think there's some really great feedback in there around language. We see that a lot in these kind of like more deep tech kind of conversations. So I think that's a really interesting and valuable takeaway there, everything that you've heard here today. And thankfully it's recorded, so you can always go back and watch it. So I'm gonna ask you the exact same question yet again. How can we here today and those in the audience help amplify your business?
Absolutely. Connect with us. People are putting our LinkedIn on the chat on YouTube. So connect with us. We are looking for advisors. We are looking for partnerships. We want to put the message out there that we are doing this already. And we just want to learn a little bit more of the tissue engineering areas and exactly where can we help you guys with this. And also tell people about us that because we are already developing this technology, it's going on right now. And also check out our website at voxelbio.com. We have been posting a lot of news in there and also a lot of jobs. So that's also interesting. So yes. So thank you guys. Thank you, Anne and Paul, and thank you, Melanie. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And where can people connect with you directly?
Oh, my email is valente@voxelbioinnovation.com. So people are going to also be putting on the chat, but you can also find all this information at voxelbio.com. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Carolina. Really appreciate you being here today. It was great to see your pitch again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just say, so far, amazing companies. Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool. Yeah.
What
Love
they're
it.
building in the backyards here is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, so now we're going to invite Klaus Friedrichsen. Am I getting that? Perfect. Okay, I apologize. Who's joining us from Sweden? So not in Canada or British Columbia. We are going to another side of the world, much closer to me. Klaus is going to be pitching Liquid Wind. And exciting fun fact about Liquid Wind is that they're currently running a crowdfunding campaign on FrontFunder. So you can go to frontfunder.com/liquidwind. That's interesting. I just clued in that you're from Sweden, but doing a FrontFunder campaign. So that's interesting because they're a Canadian company, yes? Like BC, I believe.
We are a Swedish company and a Canadian company.
Okay, that would explain it then. Very
and
cool.
I happen to be Swedish and Canadian, and I've spent many years in Canada, and I'm back in Sweden since 2013.
Okay. This is very cool. I love it. I like learning these things. Well, you're very welcome, Klaus, to the stage here today. Please make your slides presentation mode would be my last thing I'm gonna mention, because right now we can see everything.
I thought I did, but you don't see that?
No. Your little nav bar at the end is getting in the way.
It is getting in the way.
That nav bar thing sometimes drives me crazy. It's
so frustrating. But we can see it now. It's all good now. So as soon as you're ready, Klaus, feel free to take that deep breath and go ahead.
So we're here to change the view on climate change. Because the problem is we are releasing way too much carbon emission all over the world. We are focusing at liquid wind. We're focusing on the marine segment, where we spend roughly 99.9% of the fuel there is based from fossil sources and is emitting a lot of CO2 and other items. So we're here to make that problem go away. And we do that by using renewable energy, or renewable wind or solar energy, that we combine with carbon dioxide, the same thing that we just didn't want to have, but we can combine those two to make a fuel, and that fuel can be up to 94% CO2 reduced. So there is a solution to carbon change and to the fueling of large vessels. And the fuel is actually not even new. It's been around for a long time. It's been made before from natural gas. Now we make it from electricity and carbon dioxide. So it's both commercially ready and it's ready for the marine sector. It's being used today by about 25 ships in the world. But since there are 70,000 ships in the marine market, we have a few little ways to go, or a ways to go. And so we're in the business of building factories that produce the fuel. We're going to make multiple factories, and they're going to be standardized to 50,000 tons of output, which will save or prevent the emission of 100,000 tons of CO2 on an annual basis. And we have a vision to build 500 of those plants or facilities by 2050. We started in 2017, the company. We've come a fairly long way in the last 4 years. When we started, hardly anybody knew what we were doing or why. Today, it's the hottest thing to be an electrofueled. We've raised 1.3 million until now. We're just closing around for 3 million in Europe as we speak. We have letter of intents with the world's largest shipping company, a fairly large car and truck making company, and a big ferry company. We've also secured the location for the first facility where we will source our CO2. As we move along, we intend to get into construction in 2022 and deliver the first product in 24, and then get to our 500 sites by 2050. We have a great team of people from various parts of the world and various experiences. They're doing a fantastic job. And we also have a great set of partners in being our co-collaborators or consortia partners, as we call them. And you see the names of them here. Why are we in Canada? Because Canada has the perfect conditions for electrofuel. We have low cost electricity. We have access to what's called biogenic CO2 or CO2 from the forest. And we have good experience with hydrogen since many years. We have raised so far in our current crowdfunding round $700,000. We're looking at raising another 800 to reach the 1.5. The lowest entry ticket is $540. We want this to be spread across to as many people as possible. The funds will be used to develop the facility. That means not build the facility, but everything we need to do before we build it. We already have an investor who's going to put the capital in to build it, but we need to get there, so to speak. That's what I had today. Please come join us.
There you go. All right, thank you so much, Klaus. And may I just say, you have a very calming voice and your slides are beautiful. So for those who are ever wondering about what your slides should look like in a pitch deck, these were, in my opinion, very well produced or well designed. So thank you for that. I also appreciate that you have a boat in the background of your screen. I like that too. So Paul, I'm going to go to you to begin with our feedback.
Gosh, I should have let Anne go first on this one as well, because I'm actually, amazingly enough, at a loss for words. For me, it kind of hit all of the elements. I mean, there's little tiny questions about, like, you know, how do you capture the carbon, but it's kind of getting into the nitty gritty, and I'm not necessarily sure it needs to be in the pitch. Like, these are so it did its job in whetting my appetite to wanting to further the conversation. I think that's what's happened, right? Is because these are the things that I'd be like, Klaus, I want to connect with you on a call because I want to learn more, right? So I think it's done a good job at that. I guess the one thing that I'm maybe missing is, actually, no, now that I just said that out loud, I know exactly what I am missing. What I'm missing is you talked a lot about the money you're raising and the plans for what that money is. As an investor, what I wasn't sure about is how I get my money back. I think that's what I'm really thrown off by. So, you know, because you've raised, what was it, 1.3, I think, before, euro, and then now you're closing 3 million euro. Plus, you've got this crowdfunding campaign in Canada for I can't remember the exact amount of you're at 700K. Okay, yeah, I don't remember. I didn't remember what the total was. I knew you're at 700K, but I think you're kind of at a point where you need to start giving an inkling of, like, what's the timeline for if you're speaking to investors specifically. I don't always get big onto exit plan, exit strategy if you're kind of earlier. Like, I wouldn't necessarily have recommended that for the other three pitchers, but because of where you're at and the significant amounts that you're raising in comparison, I think I'm kind of at a point of, like, okay, but if I go in, when do I get my money back? What's the exit strategy on this? Or what's the return, right? What's the return on my investment? Is it dividends once the factory's running? Is this a public market play at some point where you reverse IPO into a European or Canadian stock market play, or both? You know, so I guess I'm curious about that. And I know some people might say, yeah, but Paul, that's a conversation to have afterwards with Klaus in a separate call. But I think to de-risk the opportunity and possibly create more interest from investors, I think that it might be time to have that in the deck. I think that's the one big glaring thing for me. I'm curious to hear what Anne has to say.
Yeah, that stood out to me too. I have like this big exit question mark here. And I think it stems from the 2050 number that you quoted quite a few times. And as we know, fund managers are dealing with, 5 to 7 year return investment cycles, and a fund typically is a 10-year fund. So the question there would be, what is the return? How do people think about that in the Silicon Valley or, the tech investment space, I should say. Great pitch, same feedback as Paul, great story, I get it, right? We need to move in the right direction. And I get it because now more than ever with, executive orders here signed in the United States about climate change, etc., I understand that very well, but I think it was a little bit of a missed opportunity not to double click on that, to say, look, this is now more than ever, right? And you did say that over the last 4 years, and now it's a hot topic, but I think you have an opportunity to highlight that even more, so that I'm like, as an investor, oh yes, now I have to invest and it's not too late, right? Like I didn't miss the Bitcoin train or whatever it was that I missed last time. So I can still get in on this and be part of the change I want to see and be part of that investment opportunity, which I'm not quite clear about what that is. I also think it's a massive project, and you're just raising 3 million. And I know it's for development of the actual factory, which will require obviously much more investment. But there's a little bit of a question mark around that. Where do the 3 million go, and what exactly are you going to do with that? And which IP are you going to create there that is unique to the company you're creating versus somebody else coming along and saying e-methanol, that's it, right? And maybe a big shipping fleet will say that's what we're going to do next. So I would like to understand why I'm placing my bets on you, and that's a safe bet, versus somebody else coming out of somewhere, maybe a Shell or a Chevron coming up with the same concept, which I know they're working on a lot of renewable fuels as well. And then I would like to know, just personally, and it's just me sort of getting into the nitty-gritty of what Paul said too, like how is it that this is not done yet? How much does it cost to retrofit these ships to now use e-methanol versus the other fuels? And then is it actually more cost effective to use the new technology versus the old one? And what do the governments do here to maybe put taxes on this so that in the future this is the only way to go? And then you said you're raising 3 million A round in Europe. In Europe, that's an A round. Just be wary, in the US or in Silicon Valley, that would still be a seed round. That wouldn't necessarily be an A round just yet, because the rounds have gotten bigger. And then what did I write down here? Yeah, marine versus global would be interesting to me to put in that number, right? You're solving one piece of the puzzle, but it wasn't clear to me how much emission there is from marine traffic versus traffic generally. And that to me would have been a nice metric on top of it, to know like, okay, that's part of that and that's solving that much. And then, yeah, definitely double click on the why now. I think that's such a strong point here. So yeah, fantastic pitch. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks for the feedback. And it's funny, the why now, because our video is called Now's the Time, which is on Front Finder if you go there. So it's bang in your face on Now's the Time. And I think for all the other questions, all super relevant. And if you come back for the 15-minute pitch, then we'll cover all of those in detail.
Amazing. And there's more questions for you in YouTube, by the way, in the chat in YouTube, by the way, Klaus. There's people asking about like, what does liquid wind make? And could you describe the chemical process and these kinds of things? So I'll let you address those over there because I know we don't have time right now. But what I do want to make sure we create time for is to hear from you, Klaus. What can we do here today to amplify your business?
So I'd say there's two things. I mean, one is talk to everybody you know who's interested in putting in $540. That's the one thing, or more, of course, and we'll be happy to share that. We'll give you a couple of X in return when we buy back your shares in a couple of years after our first facility. The other one is you happen to have an uncle or a brother or sister working in a pulp mill. We need locations next to pulp mills that emit CO2. And we would like to secure those locations over the next 2 to 3 years so we can then get into making facilities in Canada as well. So pulp mills close to wind energy and with good logistics. And we're very happy.
Okay, great. And how can people connect with you?
They can reach us at, if it is me personally, it's class@liquidwind.se. Otherwise, it's liquidwind.se on the website. Okay. And there was a mentioning here about the frontfunder.com/liquidwind. And there's good presentation material there, which answers many of the questions from Anne as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Klaus. Really appreciate it. What a beautiful pitch to end on here today. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, of course. All right. So, Isabel, where are you? Hello.
Hello. All right. So it is now time for voting. So I'm going to share my screen with everyone.
We still have 45 people watching on YouTube, and then we have us in the room here. So we should have votes coming in, all those on YouTube. I see you.
Yeah, so head to buzzit.ca and then enter the event key Amplify Jan. It's not case sensitive, so you can put in all caps if you're feeling excited. And then vote on your top pitch. So we'll keep that open for the next few minutes. So while everyone is voting, I would like to go through some upcoming events that we have for the next few weeks. So we do have a pitch mastermind coming up on February 18th. So this is a closed door event designed to get you pitch ready and build your confidence in your pitch. Dr. Carolina actually attended our pitch mastermind in December, I believe. And now she's joined us for a pitch Amplify. So if you are looking to get feedback in a more closed environment, this is definitely something for you. And we have 3 spots available. So you can head to Eventbrite to get a ticket for that. And again, it is a closed door event, so it's only pitchers to attend. We have our IG Live founder chats coming next week. We've got Anka Chan from Ruth, formerly known as Hempact. So Melanie will be chatting to her at 11:30 Pacific time or 7 p.m. Irish time for Melanie. That should be 7:30, I believe. And we also have a new series called Off Mute with Mel. So this year we're really trying to bring some focus to our content and intentionality to our content. So here, I think I have I can hear myself. Does someone have YouTube on? I'm just gonna turn off my YouTube in case it's me. So Off Mute with Mel. So it's sort of fireside chat. Melanie will be picking Cecilia Basic's brain on women in inventorship. So we're kind of looking at inventorship, IP, all throughout the month of February. So that's going to be a very interesting chat. So that will be hosted on Zoom as well, Melanie, if I'm correct.
Yeah. I'll be doing the interview on Zoom, and it'll be broadcast to YouTube just like this one right now.
Just like this one.
Yeah.
And then finally, we also have a partnership event with Success. That's happening February 19th. So we did our first event with Success back in September. And the program is for young entrepreneurs. I think the ages are 19 to 29 or to 30. So we're going to be joined with 8 alumni from that program to showcase their business idea. Some of them are starting a business, some of them are already in the process of having their business and they're looking to build it out. So that will be February 19th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And you can register for free for that event on Eventbrite as well. So I might take my screen off to see how the voting is doing. So let's see. Oh yeah, we almost have everyone voted. So there's a few more people to vote. So we'll keep it open for just a few more moments. And do you have any final pieces of advice for pitchers or for anyone who is looking to maybe apply for our next Amplify? If you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I wrote an article about common pitch mistakes, so go check that out. I think Eleanor put it in the chat. And, you know, always bring as much passion as you can, because now we're on screen, right? And it's tricky to convey an idea and passion on a screen. It's so many other layers that are being removed. And so definitely spend time practicing, spend time, come join the guild as well. We do a lot of practice sessions on multiple different things, and take as much advantage of communities, founders and investors, and trainings like Paul is doing and Volition is doing as possible, so that I can wake you up at 3 a.m. in the morning and you're going to deliver an amazing pitch. That should be your goal.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anne. Paul, any final words for our pitchers and anyone else watching?
Anne said it really well. I couldn't say it better myself. That was fantastic. Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe I'm a bit biased because I am a pitch and presentation coach, but you know, we hear every once in a while. Melanie and I did a thing a while ago where somebody even came in and said, "Oh, I think pitching is going to die, and people are going to stop doing it, and it's not going to be a thing anymore. So there's no point to it." And Melanie and I just kind of looked at each other. I mean, we were virtual, but we were just like, "Really? Like, it's." The fact is sure, there might be other methodologies. Sure, we're virtual right now, but at the end of the day, I can't speak enough to how it helps you become clear and concise with your messaging, whether that's with, and as I often tell my students, I teach at a couple of colleges, as I even tell them, you know, being clear and concise with your message, and knowing when I say investor, I'm not just talking about people who might invest money. It might be connections. It could be future employees. It could be team members. It could be advisory board members. Just the ability to get investment, somebody to buy into what you're building and what you're doing. It's so important to practice and learn from others. I mean, entrepreneurship, right? I've been doing it for 20 years and I'm still learning. So there's always things to improve and get better at. So yeah, really agree with Anne. So I appreciate everybody joining us today. And amazing companies. Wow, you guys are incredible. Very inspiring.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. If we could have all of the pitchers come back on with their video. Thank you all. It was really, as always, an honor to watch your pitches, and thank you so much to our panelists as well for everything that you contributed. As Isabel has said in our Slack channel, the votes were incredibly close, and that goes to show that everyone here today really showed up and brought incredible pitches that I have no doubt you've been working on and getting feedback on and iterating on over a long period of time. They don't just happen overnight. So thank you so much for coming here today and sharing that. So I think we're gonna, Paul, announce the winner here, or the top pitch.
Top pitch. Are we doing it on 3?
We can do our best.
Are we doing it together, or you just want me to announce it?
We'll try together. We'll try together. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. On 3.
We'll get good at this eventually.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. New
pack.
Peak.
We're not good
Robotics.
at it. New Peak Robotics.
Yes, New Peak Robotics. Fantastic. Congratulations, Anshul. All the way from Surrey, BC. We're supposed to announce it sort of like a hockey game or something, I think, right? All the way from Surrey, BC.
On Wednesday.
No, that's like monster truck races. Sunday. Yeah. So congratulations, Anshul. Way to go. Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was voting, I was stuck because I was sitting there going, I don't know who to vote for. Like, they're all so close. I had to really kind of like really think about it. And usually what happens is there's usually like one that's like, okay, that's the automatic one. And then the rest is sort of, but this time I was like, I don't know, which ones should I go with? And I just kind of hit a button at a whim. So it's way to go. It's awesome. Way to go.
Fantastic. Angela, congratulations. Very well deserved. Would love to hear if you have anything that you want to say.
Well, this was a great experience. I learned a lot. It's actually very easy to get into a bubble where you're only like telling about your technology to people who are used to hearing these things. So this was a great experience where like I got a wider exposure to the community where they haven't seen something like this before, and hearing your thoughts. So like this was very useful. And as last thoughts, I guess, like I would say, I'm very excited for what we are working on. It gives me so much joy every time I go out on the field and see these robots running around come alive. And I hope someone here also shares my excitement. And if you think this is something that excites you, please talk to me, and we'll find a way to work together.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So all of the pictures here today, please do, if you haven't already, get into the YouTube chat and connect with people. We've got people saying, Dave is saying, pushing to the event to YouTube is great. This is so much better than having to load Zoom. Yes, so get in there, share. This is going to be up on our YouTube channel forevermore, let's say. Pictures, get out there, share this with your communities. You all did such an incredible job. And to Anshul's point, like there's these really interesting technologies and products in the room here today. And it's always so fascinating to hear like 4 very different kind of businesses and technologies that are being developed. So thank you so much, everyone. As Isabel mentioned, we have events coming up. We've got our weekly IG Lives. We've got Off Mute with Mel, which should be fun, and really interesting inventorship I'm learning about, and I'm sure people in this room could probably teach me about / maybe provide your insights and what it's been like. So again, thank you so much. And Paul saying he loves the name for Off Mute with Mel. And yes, thank you, Isabel, for that prompt. We also want to thank everyone who made this event possible, the entire team, which we're all in that circle right there, that have all been behind the scenes. So all the things you've been seeing, not the people in the Zoom room, but all the things people have been seeing on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, as well as here in Zoom, couldn't be possible without everyone on our team here. Sabrina, Gabby, Isabel, Paul, of course. Really, really appreciate it, as well as to our sponsor, Pivot and Pilot, and of course to Anne. Oh my goodness, we were in Slack behind the scenes being like, you're incredible, like providing this really valuable advice, tips and tools from all of your experience. And we really all appreciate it. People in the YouTube chat are also saying the same thing. So thank you all very much. And we look forward to seeing you at our next Amplify, which, if you didn't know, we are going to be doing, I believe, the last Wednesday of every month, or that is the plan at this point in time. So you can look forward to that, and we hope to see you at our next one. Am I missing anything? Nope. We're good?
Nope.
Okay.
We're good.
Perfect. All right. Well, bye, everyone. And we'll let all the pictures say bye. And if you have any last words, you can say your last words too. Otherwise,
thank you very much.
Perfect.
Very good event. Fun to be here. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Klaus. It was great meeting you. Thank you, Carolina and Lisa.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I've ended the stream.